exactly written in the job description, right? Or maybe it's George's job, or maybe it's the Alliance's job, or maybe it's the Convention and Visitors Bureau's job. But it's a bit of all of our jobs, but it's really neither. It's really nobody's specific job. So goal number one is to make sure that as our economy is set on Mach level 5 from an investment perspective, there are procedures and policies and people that are protecting the quality of life piece. Right? So sometimes people ask me, Rebecca, how do you really drive change in a community? And you drive change, in my view, in my experience of working with great places to live, you drive change in 4 ways. The first one is through good policy. So you want to hold the line on good policy, don't let it get pulled back or revoked, or you want to advance good policy. So policy is number one. The second way to move cultures, to move communities, is social networks. So one of the things I love, for example, about us all here tonight is we've got homegrowns and transplants and boomerangers. We've got Fusion 5 members, and we've got people who don't know what Fusion 5 is, right? We've got a broad spectrum of folks from across the region, mayors from 3 communities, right, and police jury representatives from all over the place. And the reason that's important is because the people that you are associated with will help drive the reality of this community moving forward. So in the plan, one of the things you'll notice is that I've suggested that you put some odd combinations together. For example, I've suggested that each of our mayors has a next generation council, right? A group of younger folks who can help them see the city through their lens, right? I've also recommended that on our boards, we get very intentional about making sure that we've got younger folks on our boards with full voting rights, right? So how we mix people up in the community, the social network, matters. The third and fourth thing that drive change in a community are people's attitudes and their behaviors. And these are the things that are a little insidious. They're very hard to measure, right? So we know that this community, this region, is going to grow by leaps and bounds. And one of the things we've got to check is our attitude towards that, right? Do we feel like it's an opportunity, or do we feel like it's a pain in our butt, right? If we've got new people moving here who don't look and act just like us, is that an annoyance or is that a blessing, right? What is your attitude going to be around that? And then finally, the behavior piece, right? My favorite example of this actually comes from corporate America. I was working with, it happens to be in Houston, Texas. I was working with a CEO who was telling me how great his company's life-work balance policies were. He's like, we've got great life-work balance policies. People can take 4 weeks of vacation. Anybody can work a flexible schedule. And he was going on and on. So then, that night, we were taking the elevators down together. We were going to go out to dinner after being at his office all day. And we're at the elevator bank, and a younger, junior person came up, and my client said, hey, how you doing? And the client said, I'm doing pretty good. And then my client, the CEO, said, where are you headed? And he goes, God, now I'm just a little bit early because I'm going to go coach my son's soccer game. And then my client said something behavior-wise that was just not appropriate to having life-work balance. He said, number one, he was like, can't your wife do that? And then number two, how are you going to make this time up? You know, and I thought, oh my God, here you're telling me how great your policies are, and your behavior at the top is setting this tone that negates all of that. So great policy, great social networks, great attitudes aren't, don't solve it if at the end of the day we are Fred Flintstoning our way towards change. You know what I'm talking about? Throwing your feet through the floorboards on the bus. So this is the first goal, is to make sure that quality of life is embedded everywhere.